Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. So today I'm in a little bit of a strange filming place, I guess. I'm standing on my dresser, but no matter. Today we are going to be talking about tips. I did a video on forms. Now it's time to do a video on tips. So I have one nail that is free, and I will be showing you guys how to apply a tip, how to size a tip, how to shape a tip, and some tips, puns, tips, and tricks to help you be successful. So if you want to learn about tips, then just keep watching. So we've already talked about sculpting, and using tips is probably one of the most common ways to get a nail enhancement and extend your nail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a dust brush and some rubbing alcohol, and I'm just going to make sure that my nail is really, really clean. Just scrub it clean. I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna go down. I know I was scrubbing back and forth, but I'm going to make sure I'm going downwards so that I'm pulling the dust out. So first things first, let me zoom you in. When you are sizing a tip, you need to find the perfect fit. So I happen to know that I am a 5 on my left index. So as you can see, I know it's kind of hard to see with this, but this tip fits from sidewall to sidewall without applying too much pressure. Okay, so let me show you what one that's definitely too small would look like. So this is a 7, which is definitely too small. Look, I would have to force it down, and even then it's not completely to one side. Let me show you a 6. So a 6, this can sometimes be the deceiving thing about tips. So if I apply a little bit of pressure, see how my nail is kind of white there? That would look okay. However, I would be afraid that this tip would shrink a little bit because it fits so well. So like if I put it right to my sidewall there, maybe this tip actually wouldn't fit too badly. So this is kind of the thing with tips. You have to like decide, I guess. You can kind of feel when a tip is too big, but I would rather go too big than too small. I think I actually am going to go with a 6. So let me show you what a 4 looks like. I think I'm probably in between sizes, but my nail bed is pretty narrow, so I can make it work. So a 4 is way too big. Do you see that big gap right there? You could file that down and it'd be okay. When in doubt, I would say size up, but now that I'm looking at that 6, I think it'll fit okay. Reason being is that you don't want to have to apply a whole lot of pressure to put the tip on. Like, the more I look at it, the more I think I'm going to go with a 5. Okay, yes, I need to follow my own advice. When in doubt, size up, so I'm going to size up with 5. Because I don't have to apply really any pressure for it to fit sidewall to sidewall correctly. And I can always file it a little bit if I need to. So here is why I don't like tips opposed to sculpting. There's a couple of reasons. So one reason is that when you apply a tip, obviously you have to glue it to the free edge of the nail or to the edge of the nail. I like to leave a little bit of free edge. With me and with most people, this is not going to be an issue because there's enough nail bed for product to hang on to. But if we were getting into somebody with maybe a really short nail bed or somebody who's a nail biter, that if you put a tip on that, that could very well be almost a third of their nail. So you're taking surface area of your nail away from the product to adhere to, and there's a higher likelihood that the nail is going to pop off. Secondly, tips are a lot of guesswork in my opinion. I just think tips are a whole lot of guesswork. So because of that, I just would rather sculpt, and I would rather put something that extends the nail. I think that sculpting makes the nails look a little bit more natural. I mean, it's an enhancement, so like it's not going to look natural, but I think in my opinion, I just like sculpting better. And especially for right now, glue is water soluble. Soluble? You know what I mean. It'll dissolve in water. Nail glue will. So because people are washing their hands so often right now, or if you had somebody who was constantly had their hands in water, maybe they're a dishwasher, maybe they, I don't know, do a lot of stuff in water or chemicals, this glue is going to break down and the nail is likely to pop off. You don't get that issue with sculpting. Now, you can do any sort of method of enhancement. You can use any product over tips. You can use acrylic, which is what I'll be using. I'm not going to do that, but that'll be a different video. You can use hard gel, builder gel, or you can also use polygel. So what I'm going to use to adhere this this tip is I'm going to use Kiara Sky Base. So base is basically a resin. Contrary to popular belief, it is a glue. So you don't need a whole lot of this. I did have a quick dry glue, but I lost it, or it glued shut, I think. Oops. Sometimes this kind of gets glued down the brush, so you have to really work to get it off. Okay. Alright, so when you are applying glue to the nail tip, you only want to apply it right in here. You don't need a whole lot. But you want to make sure that you get it from side to side. It's probably all the more I'll need. So you always want to be holding your finger like this to make sure it's straight. So what I do is I go like this, and then I press down. Do you see how my nail bed is white? It's because I'm applying a lot of pressure downwards. Okay. You can see it's a little bit crooked, but I'm not super worried about that because I'm going for coffin anyway. But I am going to make sure that this is completely pressed down. And you see, it's not. This is another reason why I don't like tips. It's because I can feel that there is a gap in here. You can actually see it too. So what I'm gonna do, because my free edge is pretty malleable, I'm going to take a little bit of glue, and I'm literally going to press my free edge into it so that it hopefully adheres. And hopefully my nail doesn't glue into it. Okay. Looks good. So obviously this is not the length I'm going to keep it. I'm going to take some straight edge nail clippers, and I'm going to clip it across. like this. I'm not super worried if this isn't perfect because I frankly don't use tips a whole lot. I'm just gonna straighten up the edge a little bit with an 80 grit file. But I'm also going to take a little bit off the corners. So this is where straight edge nail clippers kind of come in handy. Since I'm going obviously for coffin, I'm just going to cut a little bit off of the sides so I don't have to work as hard. Sometimes it's easier to go this way. All right, that looks pretty coffin-y. So I'm going to take that file. I'm gonna be gentle because tips don't take a whole lot to file. I'm gonna make sure that my file is straight up and down. I'm not like leaning it in or anything. So it doesn't need a whole lot. Gonna make sure to go underneath. Make sure that that is flush to my side wall. Sometimes I have to hold it kind of like this. It's not always the most comfortable, but when you're doing nails on yourself. All right, so now what I'm going to do, so I've shaped it, looks okay. See, the one reason why I don't, you can see the difference here. Do you see how flat this tip is and how curved this sculpture nail is? Tips are usually pretty flat, which is why I prefer to sculpt. But whatever your look is, that's fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a 150 grit file. Excuse how gross this one is. I only use it on me, so we're okay. And I'm just going to blend in the tip at my free edge, or where the tip meets the nail. Now these tips, they're from Exclusive Nail Couture, and they're pretty thin, so they don't need a ton of blending. And I'm also going to blend, I'm going to etch the tip. This is important because the acrylic is going to stick to it if you etch it. And if you are doing like gel, you would definitely need to etch the tip. Otherwise the light would not be able to penetrate through it and your gel will not be able to cure. Okay. So I'm just gonna make sure I'm not having any little scragglies. And that tip looks like it is pretty good to me. So I'm going to cleanse again. And that is ready for acrylic. So that is ready to be prepped. Now I already prepped my natural nail. Like I already did, I etched it and stuff like that, but I did not put primer on yet. You can put dehydrator on before tips, but not primer. Otherwise it won't stick. So then after this you would do primer and then you're ready to jump right into acrylic. So I hope this helped you guys. Feel free to leave a comment below if you have any questions about tips. I hope to see you again in my next video, or at least that you'll tune in. Please give me a like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.